When we went Emerald the first time, our whole upline started blowing apart, and Shari told you about that, and we were praying for something to happen. I mean, we just wanted something to happen. I was saying, my gosh, what is this, you know? And we're dealing with people, but they were people of poor character. They had no focus. We didn't even know Dexter was our upline. And I called the corporation. I said, look, we need help. Who's our upline? And they said, you're down somewhere through Dexter. And I said, well, who's Dexter? You know? I mean, I had met him once at a function, our first one, but I said, you know, how do I reach this guy? He's so big. And you know, back then it was like a whole blur, and the first function being Dexter, I said, okay, I could stand him. We were getting really cynical at this point. And along came Dexter, and he got us plugged in ultimately with Bill and Leslie O'Brien. And it was absolutely incredible, the relationship I developed with that man. All of a sudden it clicked. It was like a chemistry, and I needed it. He's the type of guy that when you counsel with him, he takes your thumb out of your mouth. You know, he stops you from being a thumb sucker. Well, I got problems. And he takes it out. And he's the type of guy that at the hospital would open an oxygen tent and say, breathe, sucker, or die. And what he taught us was to focus. He used to tell me, Alan, go romance the dream. And we found the house that we wanted, and in the middle of the night, I'm going there and I'm hugging the house. I mean, this is, by then, this is how bad we wanted it. And it sounds crazy and funny. I mean, it is if you think about it. Here's this big house, and I'm on a corner of it like this. They were building new mansions about 2 miles from where we used to live, and I used to drive there at night and go in through the unfinished windows with a flashlight. I'm going around. I didn't know I was setting alarms off. Cops used to show up. They used to say, oh, it's Alan, you know. After the first time they detained me, they just said, Alan, just let us know when you're looking. So every night I used to drive by these homes and look at them and things like this. And you know, in the early days, I want you to know something. We built it with a full-time job. I always tell people in the business, you'll get enough sleep when you're diamond or dead. Who needs sleep, all right? Most people go to bed bored. In this business, you don't go to bed till you're exhausted. You know, we learned also that you have to put your foot down. People say it's not character, it's out of my character to assert myself. You better assert yourself. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I mean, if you don't believe that, go home and read your pension plan. All right? And I'll bet some of you here don't have one. Okay? You know, I just hope that you understand how big this is going to be for you. You will fill an auditorium like this one day. We never believed it, but we watch the groups as they're growing and the other people. And then, see, it grows exponentially by 2, by 4, by 8, by 16, by 32, and so on and so on. And so many people, they think it all relies on them. This is a team effort today. You got to see all the work these guys did to put this together. Through all the challenges that Shari and I had, the one thing that kept us going was our dreams. We just knew the business had heart. We knew there was more to this business than just the cold fact that people were messed up and the ones that didn't last. I mean, for every one of you that's here, there's got to be some that didn't last. But the ones that stick around, they do go direct. They do go direct. And they go beyond that. They break directs. Somewhere your people are looking for a bedrock, some foundation, and that has to be each and every one of you. You know, Bill taught us that if you sponsor one person, you don't have a right to be negative. So in front of the group, Shari and I were never negative, okay? Every dog is going to have his day in the sun, and your day's coming. Everybody is going to have their glory, and it's going to come and come big. And if you've got it right now, you're going to keep it, and it's going to get better. And I learned early on, the people that you step on the way up, you're going to meet on the way down. So we just learned to stay humble, because that's the things that got us there. Bill and Leslie talked, man, we're right there taking notes and things like this. We never feel we've arrived. We don't want to. I mean, people try to hold the car door and do this, and it's just, we weren't raised that way. Usually we're doing it. And it's incredible the things that Bill and Leslie had taught us and building the business. I mean, I'm sure we were a big thorn in his side. We were not easy to work with in the beginning. We had no concept of a system. I never had an active working upline till I met them. But we were somehow affiliated enough that we were able to build something on our own. But it wasn't anything that would last. The business we have today is incredible. And you'll have one too. Did you make the right decision? Absolutely, you're here. You're here. The guy that didn't come today, he'll never know what he missed. One guy's definition of hell is meeting the person you could have been. And you'll have the total enjoyment that's allowed to you in this business by participating and coming to these functions as a participant and not just a spectator. Just being here and taking those. We want you all to go Emerald and come speak in the States to our group. We have a motto in our business. What's an expert? It's a guy from out of town with a briefcase. So don't forget, bring your briefcase. People always tell us, well, I don't want to do what you do. Oh, come on, you want 40 years of what you had last week on the job? My gosh. Go look at your work on Monday and try to find somebody you work with that's older than you. Are they still complaining about the things that you complained about? A lot of times people ask us, how do you talk to Jewish people? And I tell them, like this. That's all. You want to make some money? Being in this business, you're going to have a lot of magic moments. Shari told you we have 4 children, and I was present at the birth of all of them. In fact, I helped deliver them. And I was there with the catcher's mitt. Come on, Do you know why they tie the belly button? Why they clip it? Because if they don't, it goes... You're all getting too serious. I just figured I'd tell you that. I have other jokes, but I can only think of the clean ones. Being in the business, one of the magic moments came to us about a few years back. My son Benji, he loves to really cuddle. He's a cuddly little character, and he's so into the business. He goes, hey, you got a meeting tonight? You got a meeting tonight? And one night he wanted popcorn, and you ever make popcorn? Not the microwave stuff, but the real stuff you put on the thing. We have an electric microwave popcorn maker, a plate that gets hot, and it's got a little thing that stirs it. So you put a little oil and you put the popcorn, and it's like building the business. You cover it, and he loves to watch it, and you got to watch it like this. And I'd hold him up, and he'd watch it, and it would sit there and stir, and it would get hot. He goes, well, he always says this. He goes, well, nothing's happening. And it's like the business. You keep adding it, and people are there, they're getting hot and moving around, but nothing's happening, All of a sudden, one of them goes, poof. And the next one goes, poof. And then it goes, poof, poof, poof. And you ever do that? And it fills up, and the thing's moving. And that's how it is. Look at this. Speaking of popcorn, they just developed a new airbag system called the Jiffy Pop airbag for cars. So if an accident happens, you can eat while the ambulance is coming. People say to us, will you ever saturate the business? And I'm trying to give you, 14 years experience in such a short time. It's a little tough. People say, won't it saturate? I mean, you could look in this room and say, oh my gosh, everybody good is in it yet, is in. You can't saturate doubt, ignorance, and laziness. You just can't. People want to stay home and watch the dope operas, okay? You're not in the soap business, you're in the hope business. And so many people, I told you about my family. I used to tell them honestly, you're going to have to get positive or get lost. Now they schedule weddings. They ask, Alan, are you going to be in town? Will you be out speaking? Things like this. They schedule weddings. We had a cousin that moved his wedding. His first wife, she was negative. This is his second wife, and she was so dumb. I told her, why don't you go outside and make up your mind? She put lipstick on her forehead. You're some group, boy. She was close, I'm telling you. Today I laugh a lot, but I laugh internally. And sometimes, I'm at a meeting and all of a sudden I'll start chuckling. A guy will tell me excuses. He says, why are you laughing? I says, it isn't the first time I heard this. Yeah, but you don't understand, okay? That's right. You want to be motivated, look in your checkbook. Okay? So many people, they want to know, does the business work? Magic moments are in the business are when we were told after 2 years of marriage that the radiation levels Shari was exposed to prohibited us from having children. And then we got the green light. They said, okay, you could go for it. It was one reason or another, but they said, there's a risk. We have 4 kids and they're all good, all right? They're all proper. And what I'm trying to tell you is, if I could tell you anything, keep your head out of the junk. Don't let the people get negative on you. You got to stay above all that. Stay above all the politics. We always manage to, and you don't hear something you like on a tape, ignore it. Like some people don't like sauerkraut or cabbage, so you leave it there. But you don't stop shopping at the supermarket because they sell cabbage, okay? I mean, people are ridiculous. Well, I don't like what he said, so I'm going to hurt my whole family. All right. I like what Bill says. He said, did your mother drop you on your head as a child? Did she have any children that lived? What I'm trying to tell all of you, you're always going to have critics, Critics are like, you ever see dogs that bark? They're trying to set up terror. Listen to me. You're always going to have critics. People always laugh. I always tell people the dogs bark, but the caravan moves on. The success train is going to keep moving. And it's, if it doesn't clip you off pull you onto it this time, it'll pull you on the next time, but maybe you won't know where it comes from. When does the posture come? I don't know. It just develops. It's a whole bunch of multiple decisions. We were here in 1990 and the group was a fraction of its size. And now we've come back and it's exploded. And this trip we got to know your leaders much, much better. We're more relaxed and more mature and, it was just incredible for us to leave America. We never traveled that far. And I ask a lot of people, even the people that hosted us, you ever been to America? And a lot of people said, no, we've never been there. Come on over. Everybody's not cowboys and Indians. Okay? They're all good people and they're like you. Magic moments in the business. Was when I broke down, it was raining. A lonely road. It was on the Palisades Parkway and it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't usually break down, but I didn't foresee it. It was just something dumb, and I needed help. I couldn't get anywhere. The police weren't coming around. And I put a board in standout, and I wrote help on it. 3 Amway distributors stopped. Magic moments in the business when you ever mismatch your socks, and you know, people look. They looked at my socks. I had a brown and a blue one. I thought it was, you know, it's two different colors. And they said, you know, you got two different socks on? That's how people are, they'll tell you. They tell you if your fly is open and things like this too. I know, believe me. I felt the draft. I said, I have a pair like that at home. Magic moments, the first time I retired, I went into work at 11 a.m. My job started at 8. And I went dressed in a suit. By then we were pretty successful. I had a few of them. And that one was a blue one. And I told my boss, I'm taking you to lunch. And he said to me, he says, look, we're not going to lunch. Your job starts at 8. You came in at 11. I said, the work getting done? He said, yeah, no complaints about your work. I did take him to lunch. I bought him soup, and he wanted soup. I had a sandwich tuna fish, I think. And I showed him the plan. He says, you know, you've been coming in tired, and I really resent it. I said, yeah, I know. So I showed him the business. He said no. He had seen it before. You ever meet people like that? Okay. I gave him my immediate resignation. It was a no envelope. And he says to me, what are we playing Academy Awards here? He said, what if I would have said yes? I had an envelope on this side, said yes, and I pulled it out. I told him I would train my replacement for 6 weeks. He says, well, I hope you'll train him anyway. I said, no, I'm leaving. Today, that's it. I'm clearing out my desk, and I'm going home. So he was really nice, though. We were friends, you know, before I retired. And people say, did you get fired and things like that? I said, yeah, I was burnt up, man. I had mixed emotions that day, joy and happiness. And, you know, you heard all the things, and my retirement letter was simple. It said, I can't stand it anymore, I quit. Magic moments in the business was when just about a year ago, it was cold out, and I went down to Bill's house. He lives 250 miles from my house, door to door. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, we finished. And he says, Al, let's go in the hot tub. And we go outside in the hot tub. My hair had ice on it. It was so cold out. But in the hot tub, you're warm, you know? And the clouds cleared up. It was snowing a little bit. The clouds cleared up, and he says, you know, you're going to see satellites in a minute. And sure enough, some satellites came over. And I didn't believe they were satellites. He says, oh, yeah, you'll see 2 more come from here in about 15 minutes. Sure enough, there they were. And the satellites came over from this way. And these were magic moments in the business. The sun came up, and he says, Al, it's another day in paradise. And it was incredible. We get Q12 trips. You know, and last year we went to Disney World, and here we're the last bus. Me, Shari, and the kids, we're the last bus to leave the Magic Kingdom. They closed the whole park. Disney never did that for any other group but ours. And they closed the whole park, and my 9-year-old, Ryan, leans over to me in the dark of the bus. They shut the lights out, and he leans over to me and like almost crying. Good thing it was dark, because my eyes were sweating. And he said to me, he says, you know, Al, he said to me, you know, Dad, this is the best day of my life. What would it have been if I had said no? Where would we be today? How would we have ever met, each and every one of you? And we'll get to know all of you that stick around. You know, we want to be all over the world. There's good people out there. Why not enjoy them? You know, and these were the moments in the business. We had magic moments on this trip where we're climbing up in Warwick Castle, you know, those stairways, those circular stairways, and Shari couldn't walk anymore, so she was crawling up on hands and knees, and we're laughing, you know? And I'm knocking on each apartment door as we go up. They had these off doors, you know, saying, ding dong, Avon's calling, you know? The Bevon lady, we call them. You know, we need you to go Emerald so that you'll come to speak with us. And we can all have magic moments. Another magic moment was on a Q12 trip when we went horseback riding. And I got on the saddle backwards. They said the head's at the other side. Folks, we don't know how to end the story properly, and, because it's still being written. So many people say, well, how do you end? You end with the thing, to be continued. We have a motto in our group: get off your rear, get it in gear, and you'll be here. Out of the shade and into the heat, off your rump and on your feet. Out the door in 94, and you'll have more. And you know what? I want to leave you with something. We hope you'll stick with us, and we'll see you at the top.